Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Blades of Glory podcast.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. Amanda, do you know how long we've been talking about doing this?
Yeah, so long it's real. We joke that we've been pregnant with this Blades of Glory podcast for a really long time, way
We're,
longer than 9 months.
oh my God, and we're finally here doing it. And why are we doing this podcast? Like Amanda and I, we're really good friends. I mean, you guys kind of have an idea of who we are. We'll do a proper intro in a second, but we talk about entrepreneur life all the time, and we have these great mastermind calls, you and I, where we'll talk for a good
We joke about it.
3-4 hours. But you know what? I come out of these calls so inspired and like pumped because I'll call you because I'm having a bad day. And I talked about like a client that I had to deal with, or just like I'm scared of, scaling and facing all these fears that you have when you're trying to grow your business. And after I talk to you, I feel so much better. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful for the relationship that we have.
It's so
And
special. And I think it's rare to have that where you have somebody in the same industry that's going through a lot of the same things, like a lot of you listening. And I mean, a lot of the things will hammer on it's going to hit home a lot. But like you said, like we get on that call, and I think that our mindset is so different in that we work through things together and we talk about what we're going to do to grow through them too. So we don't just like we have our little bit of vent, and then we manage, and then we grow from it and we understand, and it's a really healthy thing. And I think that as we've had those calls over the years, it's become really apparent to me that like how important it is to have people in our life for good association that you can go to with those things that are growth oriented or growth minded, because it really helps it helps me to surround myself with people that are more ambitious or better at certain, that I learn and grow from all the time. It's really special. So we want that for you guys, and we want to have these mastermind calls, like our fun phone calls. And gosh, we're gonna have a blast.
we're going to have so much fun. And people only see the outside of entrepreneurial life. They only see what we've accomplished, and we celebrate what we've accomplished, but we don't always talk about the bad days. And you know what? Entrepreneurs don't have it together all the time. We're not machines. We're
No.
still human.
Well, we kind of are, but
I mean, art robot.
yeah, just a little.
But we want to show you the vulnerable side, the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about things that you guys have probably thought about, but maybe don't have someone to talk to. So again, this is us just wanting to give back to the community and wanting to help other entrepreneurs grow and keep that growth mindset. And we want everyone to be as successful. I always tell my students or anyone that I'm helping or coaching, like, I wish this level of success on anyone.
No
And I'm
kidding.
so
It's
happy
changed our life.
it's changed our life in so many ways. So, yeah, let's go.
You gotta tell them the story about last night, because we announced on social media that we were dropping the first episode today. So tell them what happened
Oh
yesterday.
my God. So last night we actually recorded.
Tell them the whole story. The whole thing.
We attempted
Everything.
to record this on Friday night because we wanted to drop the episode on 4/3/2/1, which was Saturday. And we're like, yeah, that's the coolest launch date. And so we're like, all right, Friday night comes. Amanda's having lady problems. I worked 3 corrections back to back to back, like my hand was about to fall off, and I was like cross-eyed. So we're like, all right, you know what? Let's rain check. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow night. We'll have fun. I haven't talked to you in so long. We'll like smoke a little bit. We'll like have some drinks, and we'll do all the things. So by the time we got through our day, and I put my baby down and she finished whatever she had to do. And she was in Phoenix last night, by the way. She's in Seattle now.
Yeah, we'll get to that part.
Yeah. And then so we're like, all right, let's record. So we got together and we're catching up. We're on a Zoom call. We're catching up. We're throwing
It was like 9 o'clock.
It was at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. 9 p.m.
we're toking tokes and like drinking drinks. And then, all right, we're finally warmed up and we're ready to record. We recorded at 11:30 p.m. and we recorded for 2 hours straight. And the way we thought we wanted the podcast to go. And this morning I watched it and I'm like, and I made Houston watch it with me because he's my number one confidant. He gives me the honest, brutal truth because he wants me to grow. He wants me to do well. So he's always very, very honest. And
Absolutely.
so our eyes are like this big. We're fucking blasted.
Oh my gosh, it was a mess. It was such a mess.
And like, oh my God, he caught Amanda like yawning, like stifling her yawns a few times, like while I was talking. And like, we just were so like spent, like we were burnt and still trying to put this together. And like, I watched it this morning and I was like, no way. And I tried to record it.
Before we recorded, we told so many fun stories together. And we were like, gosh, we like wasted all those. We were just BSing like before we recorded. I was like, that was good stuff. We got to like,
and I was like,
why did we wait so long?
And I had my heart set on recording here in my second studio where the Blades of Glory sign is. And when I got here to set up my internet, I've been stealing internet from my first studio, by the way, which is 2 doors down. So the internet was super spotty. And I was like, okay, but I had to move it over there. So we recorded over there, but I was so determined. And then today I went home and I told my brother and I was like, I need internet in my other studio. Like, do I have time to get them to set it up? And then he's like, no, you get one of those Google Nest things. And that's what we did with our house. You have to go get the thing. And it's Easter today. So every store is closed except Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart.
So I walked my ass with my baby in a carrier with Houston. We do our daily walks. We walked him to Walmart, bought the Nest, the Google Nest, so I could set up Wi-Fi in this studio. Because I was like, and after I watched our recording last night, by the way, I texted Amanda and I said, Amanda, we need to re-record because we look bombed and like we're trailing off and like dozing off. And it was 1 a.m. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so down. I brought my mic and my camera just
Well, what you don't realize is I flew from Phoenix to Seattle this morning to take clients in Seattle. And Tanny hadn't messaged me first, but I had a feeling that we were going to re-record it. So I brought my mic and my camera system with me on the airplane.
And then I was dying because I was like, oh my God, yes. I was like, this is why you're my best friend. This is why we do the things we do.
I got my setup in the hotel room, man. So
now it's the end of the day. I got my Wi-Fi set up. We're back here. We're recording where I wanted to record. She's there. We're going to do this one more time so we can deliver this episode to you guys tonight because we said we're going to do it and we're going to do it tonight. So
isn't that real entrepreneurship?
That is like real entrepreneurial shit right there.
Take 2. You guys will never see the real episode 1. We'll never release it.
Oh my God. So here we are. A little intro about who we are. If you don't know who we are, I'm Tanny Deep, owner, founder of Sway Brows Microblading Academy and Studio. And this is Amanda Brewer.
Well, and where are you located, Tanny?
Oh, I'm here in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. I have 2 studios here in Los Angeles, both essentially doing the same thing. I've been doing this for about 3 years now and switched from a 9-to-5 as a sales and marketing manager into becoming a microblading artist and then promoted to trainer and then now grandmaster trainer. 2 studios in, over 100,000 followers on Instagram, just
Booyah.
Doing the damn thing. And growing.
One of the hardest workers in the whole entire world. One of the most consistent workers in the whole entire world.
And I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my work ethic. And honestly, the consistency is what's gotten me here. But that's just me. We're gonna dig a little bit deeper as the show goes on. And then Amanda.
Yeah, my name's Amanda Brewer. I grew up in Seattle and I have a salon and academy, Eastside Microblading here in Bellevue on the east side of Seattle. And we just recently moved also to Phoenix where I'm starting our second academy in salon in Scottsdale, Arizona. So started in permanent makeup in 2017 and worked up to as a trainer. I've done over 4,000 treatments and now grandmaster trainer for Beauty Angels and now on the board of directors for the AAM. and just
Killing
so
it.
excited about where our industry is headed, and just all the blessings that have come into my life the last few years. It's so cool. So cool.
Amazing. Amanda,
So
you're a
grateful.
beast. You are a beast of a woman. And I'm honestly like so honored to call you my friend.
That's how I feel about you. I always call you. I'm like, what am I going to learn on this call?
You know, my Houston goes, so why are you guys brow besties? And he asked me this. And I said, you know, we call each other brow besties because one, we do brows, and two, we're really close. We're like BFFs. But the reason is because we both came into this industry from two different backgrounds that is not that's not beauty. We came from a business background. I was a sales and marketing manager and she was an accountant. And but the reason why we clicked was because um, we had all this business experience,
Totally.
and we're so used to running a business, and our thought process is very methodical, analytical, and very just, you know, structured and organized and systemized.
I think it clicked when we did. I was just thinking about it because we couldn't figure out. I was like, what are some stories when we first met? I remember the first class we did together. I think it was at your location. And the way we ran that class and the way that things flowed, we just kind of kept looking at each other like, oh, like I got you.
Yeah.
Remember that when that
Yeah.
clicked?
Because like I manage my time. I try to manage my time really well when I do a class, and I like to get to a certain segment by this time and finish this by this time, get to lunch by this time. And like my class runs from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the dot. I finish on the dot every single time, and I do the exact same flow every time. And she does it the same way.
The exact freaking same way.
Without even
so
like,
weird.
discussing it.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember, you know what, Amanda, I knew of you before you knew who I was, or before we even became friends. I actually, when I was thinking about coming into this industry, I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube, looking up artists and on IG and researching, and I kept seeing Claire, like Claire Rosenberg, who's the
Yeah.
founder of Beauty Angels Academy now. Like once you search microblading, like, you know, multiple academies came up, and at the time it was Fee Academy, and she came up. Your videos came up, you know, Leslie's videos came up, and I was watching you and I was like totally like girl crushing you and like Leslie and like Claire and all these people. And I was like, oh my God, like they're so cool and they're so successful. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to be like them. And it was so crazy that when we met in Florida at the convention, like a year or two later, I was like, she's so sweet and so nice. And we're so goofy together. We like
Really
click
goofy.
quickly.
It's so fun. That's my favorite part about our friendship is the humor.
It is. It
As
is.
serious and as like hardworking as we are dorks.
So true. And it's so crazy, but you have to have a sense of humor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What we're doing is tough, tough work. And I always get this question from my clients, and I'm sure you get this question all the time. People come into my studio and by the time they lay down, they'll be like, how did you get into this? Like, it's so random.
They ask it just like that too, with that voice inflection every time. Like how did you start tattooing faces, Tanny?
Yeah. So how did you get into this, Amanda?
I had my brows done back a long time ago, and then I did the math. I'm very left brain and calculated. Did the math. I was like, I paid $800 for these. It took her 2 hours. I'm in the wrong industry. So for me, I
Wow.
ran the numbers and I was like, dang, that's really profitable. So I didn't even think about the life-changing aspect or making people feel good about themselves. Did not even cross my mind. I was like, I want to make more money. And that looks great. It might be hard, but I think I can do it. I think that would be worth it. And it was.
That's hilarious because the money is honestly what pulls you into the industry.
100%.
What are we
Unless you
working-
have a really good heart. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, the
people.
heartstrings didn't come till later for me too.
Mhm. Makes me feel a little better. I'm just really honest.
It's so true. Like what, you know, I was working busy corporate job and I was making a decent salary. It wasn't bad. I was upper management and I was doing well, but the hours really got to me, and like the workload and the pressure and like commuting to and from LA, and I wasn't spending enough time with my family. So I wanted to work more, I mean work less, make more.
Mhm.
And when I heard about this, and like you said, people were charging $800 back in 2017. That's a lot.
Yeah. It was a lot.
And when I heard about it, and I heard that, my sister-in-law was actually doing it, and she was charging maybe around like $400 or $500 at the time, and that was a lot too, because
Mhm.
she was working two to
It's
three.
still a lot.
It's still a lot, like 2 to 3 hours. I can work 2 to 3 hours and make $400-$500. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Say
And
what?
that was what drew me into it as well. Working less, making more, having more flexibility, and I'm like, okay, it's the beauty industry. I'm gonna make pretty people more pretty, right? Because who's getting their brows tattooed? People that want to look good and they do their makeup and all that. And that's literally all I thought it was.
Yeah.
But when you really dig a little bit deeper, it wasn't until, and going through the process of training and everything. And then you start working on models and taking clients. And it wasn't until, I want to say, maybe like the 10th or 12th person that I worked on that had absolutely no hair. She had no hair. Like, she had trichotillomania. That's where they nervously pull their hairs out.
Yeah.
And I spent a week like studying her brows and practicing and like, sweating over it, because I was still like sweating, getting nauseous
Yeah.
every time I worked on clients. Like, I wouldn't eat all day because I was afraid
Yeah.
I was going to throw up on
The
myself.
worst anxiety is that like pre-client anxiety. Oh
Ooh.
man. I do not miss that feeling.
Oh God. And it was so tough. But then after I finished her appointment, she cried. She hugged me so tight and like said I
Oh.
changed her life. And that was the pivotal moment for me. That was the turning moment where I'm like, oh my God, this goes beyond just making people pretty or making
Yeah.
people look good. Like, this is life changing. Like, oh my God, I just changed someone's life from tattooing their eyebrows. What?
Right.
And that was a moment where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my best to be the best so I can do anybody's brows that I come across. That anybody that wants to see me, I will be able to do it like without breaking a sweat. And
That's a really good way to think about things.
that was my
I've never
goal.
thought about it that way. Like it's like equipping yourself with a full tool belt.
Mhm. And I just like stayed laser focused on that goal this whole time, and I always put the client first. And I'm like, you know what, the money's going to come. Making people feel good and making people happy, like, it was the most rewarding, fulfilling feeling I've ever felt in my life, because you're directly impacting these people. You're spending about 2 to 3 hours with them one on one. You're in their face like this, and it's a pretty intimate experience, and you have to make them feel comfortable,
Mhm.
but you also have to be comfortable and confident.
Yeah.
And like we said, the first client jitters and the shakes and the
Panic attack.
panic attacks and the pep talks that we had to give ourselves, and like
Mhm.
the holding back the vomit, like, oh my God. But once you get through that hump and you start really touching people in this way, you'll never go back.
No.
Never go back. Like, what was your train of thought when what was your pivotal moment, and what was your train of thought?
Honestly, it was all a blur because I was so freaking nervous and I sucked. Like I straight up sucked. Oh
Oh.
my gosh. It's funny because on my Instagram account the other week, somebody commented on one of my really old posts from like 2017 and they were like, wow, these are horrible. And they commented it on my Instagram. And as much as like normally I'd probably be like hurt by that, I was really proud of that. I was like, awesome. I was like, I did suck and now I don't suck. So it was, but that was a tough journey for me at first. And like, I'm sure like some people would look back at my work and go, oh, it's not that bad. And sure, but for me, I just, Tanny, you know me, I'm not a natural artist. I had to
Mhm.
practice so much, really, really hard to get my quality of work really good. And I think that for me, I just, instead of trying to figure out the artistic side because I'm so left brained, I just made eyebrows super calculated for
Mhm.
myself with mapping or with color theory or whatever. I made it math for myself so that I could have predictable results and it worked really good. But I had a lot of anxiety and I wanted to quit all the time and it was really scary. But
But
you
you
know,
know,
I
we all
think
suck in the beginning. Like we all suck in the beginning, and it's so true. And what you're saying is that you worked really hard. You made it calculated. Like you
I
basically,
failed a lot. I failed a lot. Like people would come in for their touch-ups. I'm like, damn, that sucks.
ugh,
You
and,
know,
and
I had
that's
one of those touch-ups come in the other week. No, actually, Laura, Laura's one of my staff members. She's a full-time artist at the Bellevue location. I love her so much. And she was so sweet because one of my first 3 clients I ever did booked a touch-up from over 4 years ago.
from you with her.
Yeah, and
Like,
she had it was like I don't even wanna say all the details, but her skin was horrible,
ooh,
very sun damaged, and, like, you touch her skin, it turns gray, and that was
oh God.
oh, yeah, and she had 0 eyebrows before too. So,
Ugh.
literally, she came in and Laura looks at me like, "Am I really supposed to do this?" And she killed it, but I was sitting there looking at her, like, gritting my teeth like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
Oh,
And she looked beautiful, when it was done and everything, but when we know, like,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
oh, I was like, I felt all of those emotions again, like rush in from like that first 3 clients. I was like,
Ooh.
"Oh, damn." You know?
You know what's crazy though? Like you and I both have trained probably over 500 students each now. But
Yeah.
one thing I noticed for sure is it's not about natural talent. It is not
No.
about natural talent. It's about work ethic.
But at first you always think it is and it discourages you.
Totally, totally, because people think that it looks easy. You
Yeah.
know, the artists on IG, they make it look easy. They think you can hold it like a pen. They think if they can draw, they can do it. It's like a whole different world. But I've had students that show so much promise and potential and natural talent, like in the courses, that I'm like, wow, like she's going to be really good. And then
Mhm.
there's some in the class that I'm like, whoa, like, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if she's going to make it. But then the one that I was not unsure about ends up really surprising me because they're the ones that keep coming back, keep sending the work, keep working harder. They'll take my critiques and they'll work at it and they'll keep growing. And in the end, they graduate. And the one with the natural talent maybe didn't because she didn't do the work.
They relied on the natural talent.
Yeah,
Hard work beats talent every single time, doesn't it?
every time,
Every
every
time.
time. And like, wow. I mean, there's so many struggles as a new artist
Well,
too.
I think that's a big reason we're doing this is we want to talk about hard work. What
Mhm.
does that mean? What are the highs and lows? Like, what does it mean to beat natural talent with hard work?
Like,
That's what this is.
what does it take?
Yeah. What
What
does
does
it
it
friggin' take?
like in the beginning, I, you know, I'm I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm pretty artistic. I'm very creative. I'm pretty artistic. I'm not gonna lie, it came a little bit easier for me, and because I went to fashion school, I went to design. I learned how to draw and all the things, fashion illustration, and I loved it. I loved to draw. So when I started in the beginning, like my work wasn't amazing right off the bat, but I'm a fast learner and I was able to pick it up. But I still made myself practice at least 20 to 30 minutes a night because it was so hard. It was like the hardest thing I had to learn how to do. Like, okay, I know how to draw, but that's like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So when I was a new artist, like my brows weren't coming out right. Like, and I had to think, um, I had to be proactive and I had to set myself up for success. And what does that mean? So when I got the kit and I started working on the levels in the course, you know how the course breaks down
Yeah.
like multiple levels and you're doing different parts of the brow at a time. And I broke this down. But I also had to make it convenient for myself to practice. I already can imagine myself. I have like a crazy inner dialogue that's always talking me out of doing everything that I want to do. And it's
Oh
like
boy.
no joke.
Yeah.
So I wanted to practice. And if you had to pull this whole kit out from under your bed or wherever you store it and take it out and set it all up, like the first time I set it up, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to set this up again. So
Yeah, totally.
my desk, I set up a station to help me put all my latex here, put all my tools in a cup, laid everything out, got a little lamp, a desk lamp for myself, cleaned it all off. And I'm like, every night I'm going to come home from work. And I was working full time. Every night I'm going to come home and I'm going to draw one set of brows or work on one level. And I'm just going to sit down, pick up my pen, pick up my microblading tool and start going at it. And I was able to do that because I set that up because I knew in my head, if I had to pull the box out, my inner dialogue would say, don't do it, just chill.
Mhm.
Like, you know,
It's like setting out your gym clothes for the
setting out your
morning.
gym clothes. Yeah. I don't even do that. I still don't.
I
There's
will
some
never
parts of
do
my
that. No, I'm
life I will
kidding.
never do that. I
But
never
it's
know.
consistency.
It's
That's
the
exactly what it is. And it creates that momentum
Yeah.
and confidence because you see your consistent growth and progress. If you
Mhm.
don't see progress, like if you pick up your microblading tool, say you grab a U blade and you practice once a week, do you think you're going to make fast progress? No. And you're
Mhm.
going to suck just as much as you did last week, because you're not
Uh-huh.
doing it daily. You got to be practicing daily so that you can see those little improvements, just like golf is a practice sport. I love golf because you can measure against yourself each game, but you got to play. You
I
got to
love that you
play.
love golf.
I love golf. Oh, I'm
So
such a nerd.
random. But the thing is when people start something new, like learning how to do microblading, like you're going to practice and you're going to suck and then you're going to get discouraged because you're like, "Oh, I suck." But it's going to be a major test of your ego, right?
Yeah.
So you have to get over that. You have to get over sucking. Like it's like anything you do, you're going to be bad at it when you start. But like we said, the practice, the momentum, everything compounds. When
Mhm.
things compound, they accumulate. And one small gesture, one little muscle that you built for 15, 20 minutes a day in the long run is going to turn into something crazy. And I had to share this story about Houston, my husband, because I'm just so damn proud of him. He Okay, so he decided one day that he wanted to fix his health and like get really healthy. And we were like partying all the time, every weekend, and like working and then working for the weekday and then partying on the weekend. So not
Yeah.
very healthy, right? But he's like, I want to get fit. So he's like, I want to start running. And he couldn't even run half a mile. Like he couldn't even run a lap around our house. Like he would jog and he would just get spent. But he was like, I'm just going to run a lap. I'm just going to run a lap. He ran a lap. He started running a lap. Okay, I'm going to run 2 laps. All right, I'm going to run 3 laps. But he did this every day. He did this every day.
Wow.
A year later, he ran a marathon,
Oh my gosh.
26 point whatever miles. He ran a freaking marathon
That's
from
so
not
nuts.
being able to run a lap before. But
That's a
he just
lot of blocks.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And he just kept building. And like, you know what? One day he felt like he could do another one. One day he felt like he could do another one, 1 mile. Okay, I'll try 2. All right, I'll do 3. Maybe I'll just build it up. But then like, yeah, a year or two later, he ran multiple marathons in a year. And if the pandemic didn't hit, he would have done like 10 marathons that year.
That's incredible.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
But I'm always
Consistency.
so like I admire his discipline so much and his consistency so much because he's like a completely different person now. It changed him. He's so healthy, lean
Wow.
now, and you don't think that small actions can make a difference until you do them like over
Yeah.
and over and over and
Yeah.
over.
If only all of us ate a little healthier and exercised, man. That's one consistency I would love to implement.
Hey, you're working on it. You're
I'm
working.
working. I'm on an upward trajectory, so it's good.
And I love how you always text me and you're like, I was so good this week. Like,
Yep. I literally, when I landed in Seattle here, I literally jogged. I actually jogged to Trader Joe's because I had to haul ass to do our podcast. And I got all salads and healthy
yeah.
food, and 80% of it's vegan. You'd be so proud. Yep. So yeah, I'm set for low carb.
Well, you look great. I mean, I think you
Oh,
look great.
thank you. I think we all gained a bunch last year.
Ooh,
So I finally
pandemic.
got that off, but now it's just a matter of getting healthy.
It's like the freshman 15, but it's like the COVID 15.
It was literally 15, yeah. On the dot.
I feel you. I'm still working off the last chunk. I gained 50 pounds when I got pregnant. So, and that's a lot for someone that's like 5'2". So, still working that off.
You're
But
so itty bitty.
I try. I try. So, these challenges that new artists face, once you get over this hump, then it's like the next biggest question that I get asked all the time is how do you get more clients?
More clients, yeah.
How do you get more
That's the
clients?
big one. How do you even answer, especially on a DM on Instagram? They're like, how do you get more clients? I'm like, how do you DM all of this information?
Right. Like we could have 10 episodes on this
Yes, we should. We're going to do a new series, a whole season.
of how to get clients. But let's take it back a little bit. Like, how do you get clients? And there's so many different ways to answer that question. But you should ask yourself, like, what are you doing to get more clients?
Mhm.
How hard are you willing to work to get those clients? Like these days, we have social media, and honestly, social media is a godsend.
Mhm.
Instagram is like the best thing that's ever happened
Yeah.
to this industry, like fashion, beauty, everything in general. And people can, it's a free resource. But
Yeah.
these days, people can just post a picture and expect clients to fall into their lap.
It's
Uh,
pretty nuts. Or have a following and there's tags and there's hashtags and man, it's insane.
there's so much that goes into this subject, how to get clients, but I want to talk about, let's explore beyond the PMU industry for a
Mhm.
second. um, how do other brands get clients? What's the like OG way of marketing?
Dude, my biggest best thing and to this day even it's 100% referrals.
Oh,
I it 100% referrals, dude. Like but outside of Instagram because I when a client walks in, I even when I was brand new and I didn't know anything, I acted like I knew everything. I really faked it and I really talked about my quality education and I sold them on why I was awesome, because I knew that everything that I told them, they were going to regurgitate to their friends
right.
so that if their friend was having it done, they'd go, "Oh, you have to go to Amanda because of blah." Everything that I gave them. And literally, it's funny because people come in and they're like, "Oh, I heard that blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's because I told them to tell you that." Like I
That's so
literally planted
smart.
it like a seed. So I knew that treating clients first class and also just educating clients and positioning yourself as a professional and taking the extra time too. I know clients really appreciate when you take the extra time to make them perfect and that you're OCD and that you handle and prepare them for the healing process. Well, all that, I think through all of that, people are so loyal to you as clients that they will refer everyone. Like I got a phone call today. I kid you not, it's Easter Sunday. And she called, she's like, I know it's Easter, but I walked into this store and this girl saw my eyebrows and she adamantly told me to call you and said that that you need to fix them for me because I had bad microblading done. And they're like, you're the only artist in the world that she should go to because of blah, 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 blah. And first of all, I was like embarrassed because it was like, and I don't know who it was, but like you gotta educate and take care of people because your clients will refer you 10, 20 people each. Like I have clients that have probably sent me at least 10, 20 each. Like you've experienced that.
Oh
Referrals
yeah.
are huge,
That was
huge.
that was literally the first way, like, that I got clients too, was through referrals. And of course, you start with a handful of people. My best friends were my models. Bless their hearts. They trusted me,
Amazing
and
friends.
such amazing friends. I love you girls so much if you guys are watching this. But they were all my best girlfriends and they trusted me. And then from there, like the first 20 people were all people I knew or
Mhm.
that they told, or I posted on my personal Facebook, and like I had people coming out of the woodworks from like high school, like a friend from high school was like, my
Oh,
wife
that
wants to get her brows
so
done.
happens. Isn't it
Yeah.
funny? They're like, I'll be your model.
How, yeah, like free brows, discounted
Yeah.
brows, like I'm in. So, and
Hey,
then,
friend from 10
hey,
years ago.
remember me?
Oh, that's so true.
And you're so right. It's so hard to get these clients through the door that you have to take care of them like from A to Z,
Mhm.
be professional, make sure your place looks nice and clean, make sure, looks good, smells good, sounds good, music is right. You're
Yeah.
it's the whole customer experience.
And connecting.
Connecting.
Like, oh, that is so I don't think that's really talked about enough is when they're laying there, you're asking them questions, you're conversating and you're learning about them. You're making them feel really good, like becoming their friend. Like my clients are some of my like closest friends because we've built such amazing relationships over the years,
Right.
And I take this sounds so like crazy. No, it doesn't. I take notes on their forms of the things that I remember that are special about them. So if years go by, or even at their 6 week touch up, they come back in, because you and I, we see a ton of freaking
We
clients.
do. We
I
do.
and people are wearing masks. They walk in, I don't remember anything until I read my form. And then I'm like, oh yeah, like went to this college, has this many kids, has this new puppy. They
Wow.
walk in, I'm like, how's the new puppy? Like they know I see a ton of clients. So the fact that I remember their puppy, they feel so good,
That's a really
like
good
you're
tip.
their friend,
Yeah.
and that's how that kind of that deeper level of connection professionally, like that, like when my hairstylist does that, I'm like, oh, she's my friend, awesome, I'm going to send everybody to her. you
Yeah.
know
You build
it's
that
amazing,
rapport.
and
Yeah.
I'm loyal to them, so
Mm.
I try and mimic the things that I've experienced when I get treatments or beauty things done, that make me feel good, and that make I'm like, what makes me want to refer the people that I send people to, and I
Yeah.
think about those things, and I try and implement that in the way that I go about things.
It's just doing those little extra things. I make
Yeah.
sure my client is taken care of. I do ask them like what they do for a living because one, I like to know. I like to know what kind of women are coming to see me, like
Yeah.
who's my audience. And then I talk to them about, and they'll ask me questions too, like, how did you get into this? Again, that question. And like, we'll
Yeah.
talk, and I post some of my personal life on my business page too. So they see like, oh, how's your son? Or they know I was pregnant. And like, you kind of feel like you already made that connection with them. And
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I, schedule my day so that I have ample time to take really good care of every client and then take a long break in between so I can take care of myself and then like be in a good state of mind because I want to deliver 100% of me for every client,
Every appointment. Yeah.
every appointment. And that's really, really important because I've had clients come to me because they said that they didn't like the previous person that they worked with or whatever because they were rude to them or
Mhm.
they didn't have a good experience or they just did made them feel
Or it was
stupid.
rushed.
It was rushed and like they didn't take their time and it's such a shame because you guys, we work so hard to get these appointments, like
Yeah.
so hard. And these, like we said, one appointment can turn into five, can turn into 10, 20,
Mhm.
and every opportunity is your chance to like blow them away.
Yeah.
So if you're treating them like an afterthought, like just another transaction, I'm sorry, but that's you're not going to be successful, and you're just going to be chasing that money, and nobody's going to refer you.
And I
And
think too, while you sold them on why to book with you, but I
mhm,
think when they come in for your brows, you need to sell them on why you're the best and they should refer all their friends too.
mhm,
So even when they're in my salon, I'm still selling them.
mhm,
I'm still selling. I
yeah,
didn't make the sale when they booked the appointment. I'm continuing to sell them during and after their appointment too,
oh yeah,
because not only do I want their business, I want their circles business. I want their networks business, and you have to earn that. And I think going that extra mile is what's going to create that exponential growth aspect for you. Like
it's
you want to talk referrals, that's how you get them. You sell them.
like the whole time. And then there's really authentic ways to sell without being salesy,
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the good salespeople don't sell like that, do they?
right. No, it's by Amanda just explaining her credentials or
Mhm.
talking about and then connecting with them and then explaining the top quality products that we use and
Or explaining why we use Symmetry Soft. That's what I call the app.
the
The
symmetry
Symmetry
software.
app.
Oh,
I call it
software.
Symmetry Software.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
we're proving to them, we're showing them that they're getting a really high quality, like very A1 treatment here.
Mhm.
And they think it's so cool. And you're explaining everything to them, educating them. And I think that's one thing that people they lose sight of.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's a big investment for people too. They want to know they went to the best. They want to know that their money was well spent.
mhm,
So, yeah. And I think a big part of that too, I one way that I sell myself as an artist when they walk in that door is honestly in the consultation. It sounds really weird, but when they walk in, they're nervous. And my goal is when they sit in that chair for the consult, I want to address all the things I know is going on in their brain before they say a word.
mhm.
I talk about shape, color, discomfort, process, tools, everything before they even make a peep. And then at the end, they never have questions because I already covered what was in their head. And they trust me so much because those concerns are now gone. And they realize that I handled it without them even saying it.
Because it doesn't even matter that you are like an all-star artist. Like people are still nervous. They still come
Yeah.
into my studio nervous. They come in and their nerves are like up to here. And
Yeah.
you have to like bring it down, down,
Mhm.
down,
And
down,
build
down.
trust and educate.
Yes. Until the moment they lay down on that bed, they're like, okay, like I'm ready. Like they know that once they open their eyes, like they're gonna have great brows and
Yeah.
they trusted in us. So I mean, referrals are huge.
Mhm.
What's another way to get clients? I mean, outside of social media.
Reviews I think is really big too,
Hmm.
because like I just always put myself in a seat where I'm like, okay, if I saw my online presence or I Googled or looked up and I saw my profile and there was one review and there was no pictures on there, like would I book with myself? And I always wanted to make it so I would book with myself. So
Hmm.
I always wanted my Google, my business listing to look at my Facebook, but I wanted it to look really professional. I wanted to have a ton of reviews and a ton of my work photos on those Google and Facebook. I wanted to have consistent stuff everywhere. So if they Googled my name, it was like pages of crap
Every
on
platform.
Google.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And and you guys, like, you don't have to just use Google. There's Yelp, there's Facebook, there's
Mhm.
there's so many platforms. And even if you're on IG, like one thing I like to do is just like if the client sends you a nice message, I like to send follow-up messages to the clients too, like just screenshot it and like repost it.
Yeah.
And I have a new hire in my studio right now. Her name's V. She's doing really good. You know why? Because I've gotten three. She's new. She just started working 2 weeks ago. I've gotten 4 text messages already of how happy the client was.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that
Go
crazy?
V.
Yeah, and then I screenshotted it and I tagged it and I sent it to her. And this is also social proof.
Mhm.
This is a review.
Yeah.
Essentially, the client doesn't have to physically write one for you, but this is showing, hey, we provided great service and the client was happy with it. And other people see it and they're like, oh yeah, like people are happy.
Yeah.
So they're willing to trust you more. And like there's you guys, the ways to get clients are endless, but the real question is like how long and how hard are you willing to work to get these clients? Like
That's the
say,
real question.
ooh, because some people just post a picture and then they're like, I'm in these forums and I can't tell you enough how many times I hear artists complaining about being slow
Yeah.
or like, oh, it's slow season right now.
Mhm.
But I'm like, what do you mean
Or
being
they're like, I
slow?
posted a few photos and clients aren't coming, or I can't get models.
Yeah,
Like students, like when we have students and they graduate, they're like, oh, I haven't been able to get models. I posted last week and nobody's responded.
right. But what else did you do?
Yeah.
Like
Hustle.
it's a
It's a
hustle.
well-rounded hustle.
When I started my business, so when I quit my full-time job, I actually quit a little bit earlier than I had intended. I kind of got like pushed out in a way, but it kind of pushed me into having to start my own business. And I'm going to tell you guys, I wasn't dreaming about being an entrepreneur. I was still scared. I was so scared when I quit my job that I was actually calling around and emailing and other studios to see if they wanted to hire a microblading artist. Like I still wasn't ready to be my own boss.
That
But
security was gone.
it was gone. My comfort zone, like
Yeah.
the checks, I'm getting biweekly checks. Someone's going to pay me. Someone's going to set everything up for me. I'm coming to work and it's all taken care of and I'm good.
Mhm.
I didn't want to have to take care of that for myself. But you know
Yeah.
what? I didn't have a choice because nobody called me back.
Thank God. Can you imagine if you started working in a salon? None of this, I don't know that it would have happened the same way.
No, can you imagine? I mean,
No.
somebody out there was looking out for me and they pushed me into it and I was scared shitless. I
Mhm.
had 4 clients booked for the month, Amanda. Can you imagine? I had 4 future clients and I told myself, you know what? You just have to do it. You just have to
Yeah.
get your own space. So what do I do with a new studio and 4 clients? Am I just going to wait for more clients to come to me? No, I made myself a promise that if I'll never wonder where my next client is coming from.
Yeah.
That
It's
meant that
amazing.
I'll never let myself wonder why I'm slow or
Yeah.
like, oh, it's slow right now or clients just aren't booking right now. I don't know why. No, I'm going to go again. We're going to do top-notch service for every client that comes in, hoping that they're going to refer their friends and cousins and sisters. Two, I'm going to ask clients for reviews, all those freebies that I did in the beginning about 20 models of friends and family. I
Bring
asked
them
them
on in.
all to write me a nice review on Yelp. Please copy and paste it on
Mhm.
Facebook, Google, wherever. And so that helped. And then I started, playing with all the different pictures that I had. And this is when I started my Instagram, by the way. And I was thinking about like, what I'm going to post. And I was putting together different collages. One client, I would take 20 angles of photos so I
I
could like
so believe that.
repost her like 10 different times because I didn't have enough clients. But you have to get creative when you're an entrepreneur, and you can't sit around and wait for business to come.
And you
And
have to approach it from many angles. You can't have one method. Your strategy is it's from every angle, at every single angle. Like you talk to somebody at the grocery store, you're telling them you do eyebrows.
uh-huh.
Because what if they want theirs done? Like you're literally turning over every single rock.
Yeah. And I made sure that everyone that I knew or was in my circle, or like my nail lady, or like my, if I was getting, I would tell them that I'm doing this, or I would tell my friends, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'd post on my page so that if someone's thinking about doing their brows, hey, I'm top of mind. Oh, yeah, Tanny does brows. Why don't you check her out? Like my friend does this. And if we met random people, Houston used to be, and I always bring my husband back in because I'm very outgoing. But I think because I wasn't always like this. I've worked in sales my whole life. And when you work in sales, you have to approach people and start talking
Yeah.
to them, right? So I was always very like, uh, I would approach everyone that I would like introduce myself. And I actually introduced myself to him the first time that we met, and he was taken back by it because he was very shy. And he said that
I
had I
love
not
that.
introduced myself to him, he said we might not have been married. And I was like, really?
Oh,
Oh, well, I'm glad I said hello to you then. But
that's
when
so
we would
cute.
meet strangers, I would hey, so what do you do? Like, what do you guys do? And I would start talking. And then when people ask him, he was very like closed off, and he would be like, oh yeah, I do this. And I'm like, you should tell them, like, you have a rotor business, you do this, like it's e-commerce. Like, do you have, everyone has a car, they need brakes, they need the, and I would tell him like, you shouldn't be afraid to share like what you're doing, because you
Yeah,
never know, someone's gonna want something, or that you might be able to help them, and you might start a new
yeah,
business connection or network. And
100%.
from then on, he flipped the switch. He started being more open. And yeah, that's just what you have to do. But you can't sit around and wait for business to come to you.
No, we
No.
are our marketing.
Yeah. If
It's
if
not going to
you're
be a team somewhere you can hire. It's not going to be
no.
anything else. It's you.
Yeah. And
It's you.
marketing is not something that happens overnight. It's
No.
trial and error. It's posting something consistently, seeing what works, checking
And
there.
building a foundation of a brand.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time to build a foundation.
Yeah. And if your work is not up there, you need to practice more. And you know what? Practicing is still work now. Being on your phone is work now. Practicing is part of work now. Posting a picture is part of work now. So the things that, it's funny, we were talking about it the other day, me and Caroline. We're like, isn't it crazy how we used to not be able to use our phones at work? Like, put your phones away. And now we have to be on our phones for work.
Oh man, I got that screen history or the weekly summary thing. It said you spend an average of 10 hours a day on your phone. And I just about barfed. I was like, man, I do all my work off of my phone. That is so sad. I got to get me
Mine
some of
was
those
at
blue light readers.
It's at 7 to 8 hours. I had to reduce it. Yeah,
Mhm.
that
It's a
screen time
lot.
thing is a reality check. Like, whoa.
Mhm.
But now I'm being a lot smarter about it because, for us as an entrepreneur, this. I open my eyes to my phone,
Yeah.
and I'm checking my phone on my lunch. I'm checking my phone in between clients. I'm checking my phone after, you know, every single chance I get. But this is why our screen time is so crazy.
Mhm.
But I had to stop, and I had to create the time segments that I'm going to do what I need to
Be
do.
more efficient.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to, or your brain can't handle it. You burn out.
No.
Even
And
though, like, literally, that's why sometimes students, I'm like, I respond once a day to my 100 messages because if I respond twice a day, I'll get 100 more messages and it would never end.
never.
I'm like, I don't have a clone. I'll always get back within 24 hours, always. But
This
there's
is
got
so
to be a
true.
pattern.
This is what I tell my students too. Like, I answer you once a day. And honestly, I'm going to give you guys a little breakdown on like how I manage my day. So before, how we said we're just on our phones all throughout the day, and I end up just being on my phone all throughout the day and like just disconnected from everything else, which is not good, not healthy. So now I wake up in the morning. Now that London's here, it's a little bit different before because I didn't have a baby. But now that I have a baby, he wakes me up at 7 a.m. like on the dot. He kicks us awake. He's in between me and Houston. Kicks
Oh,
us awake, and we have to start his morning routine. So I try not to look at my phone until I'm ready to like start getting ready for work. So I wake up, I'm with him, I do his morning routine, I feed him, clean him up and all that stuff, take him downstairs. My mom helps me watch him. And then by like 8:30, I start checking my messages, maybe for about 30 minutes to an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I'll start getting ready. My first client will be at 10 a.m. So from 8:30 to 9, I'm probably checking messages and getting ready. I take my first client from 10 to 12, and then 10 to 12:30ish, I do about an hour and a half lunch break because one, I need to decompress and I need
hmm
to like refuel for my afternoon appointments, and then I need to eat. That's important.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe if
Some
I
of
have,
us don't eat all day, and
you
us
know
in
what I'm
slums,
saying?
I'm guilty.
And yeah, I told myself that I just used to grind so hard that I don't want to
Mhm.
do that, and I need to
Yeah.
make sure my health is priority. So after that, I'm taking clients from like 2 to 6, and then I check my messages before I go home because I know once I go home, I'm like straight to the baby. So I'm at my studio for like another 30 minutes to an hour, checking messages, IG, emails, anything urgent. Again, I'm not looking at my students.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother show. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then I get home, I do my whole nighttime routine, dinner, bath time, everything with him. And then by the time I'm all done with that, it's 10 p.m. And then I hop on my phone and I answer all my IG messages, all my emails, and then all of my students. So I can sit down and focus and give them
Yeah.
the attention that they need. And then because sometimes it's a one answer response, and sometimes I have to draw them a diagram.
Sometimes
So
we draw crazy colored charts.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but again, it's being present and everything that you're doing because I want to give everyone ample amount of TLC,
Yeah.
whether it's your client, your family, your students, and it's helped me so much. Like this new routine, I'm not glued to my phone, but I'm getting the same amount of work done.
It's pretty
And
amazing.
and at night from like 10 to midnight, maybe 1 a.m., this is why you guys see me posting really late at night because I'm still sticking to that. I promised myself I was gonna post something like every day, and I did it every day for the last 3 years.
It's
And that's
crazy.
that's why and now I'm really into reels. Reels is my new shit.
Oh,
Like,
by the way, the song on today's post is my favorite song right now.
oh,
I'm like, you and I have such similar music
I
taste.
love that song. And I
Yeah.
heard it on another artist, a hairstylist page. And like I like her video literally made my heart like it was so good, and I was like, this song is so good. And then like I've been listening to it and I was like, I need to make it. I've been wanting to make another reel, so inspired by her to do it. And after I did it, I was like, oh, I love it.
So good. It's so
So
satisfying with the right song on the right reel
oh, so good.
feels.
So man, like, I mean, what are if you guys haven't taken away so many nuggets from this already, like what are three really key tips that you would give a new artist, Amanda?
When it comes to getting clients,
Yeah.
well, I think number one is mindset,
Mhm.
honestly, because you can do all the things, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to have that fruit. So just know that it's going to be a long haul effort and that it's not going to be what you got to do everything. You got to be all in and do everything you can to build your brand. But honestly, I think that, like we talked about, it's almost like I'm summarizing here is just getting that brand built, reviews, social media, online presence, and then just being first frickin' class. Be first class, blow people's mind, and like their expectations may be high, blow it out of the water so
Mhm.
that they tell everybody in the world about you. That's always my goal. I want them to be my walking advertisement and I prepare them to be my walking advertisement. And you should be going into that appointment with the intention of not only creating good brows, but creating your spokesperson, right?
So true.
And I think that that will help you a lot and it will compound into exponential growth in your clientele.
So true. The difference between good and excellent
Mhm.
are details.
Yeah.
All the little details that all that the extra mile that a lot of people just are lazy or aren't willing to take, or like, and we're going to tie this back. Like for me, I like to hold myself to a very high quality standard
Mhm.
in anything that I do for anyone, for myself, for anything. Like I try to be really thoughtful, and I try to be like, I am empathetic, and I try to put myself in their shoes. I'm like, how would this make me feel?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that I want, you know? And this is why we had to redo this episode, because I wasn't
Thank God we
happy
did.
with
Oh
what
my
we
god.
did. And I wasn't happy that the Blades of Glory wasn't behind me. And I wasn't
Yep.
happy. And we couldn't deliver it to you guys because it wasn't it. But
I'm
yeah.
like, we're gonna do it out of the hotel room with a horrible 80s on the back without my ring light. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have it any other way.
You know, and
This is
some
so
people,
us.
it's so us, and some
Yeah.
people think we're crazy. But you know what? Like, if you
We
look,
are crazy.
we are crazy.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I am crazy. And certain things, like, again, like another example with Houston, when he was helping me build my space, like helping me, he executes a lot of the things that I I need to help with, like putting the chairs together, putting the mirrors up, and the mirrors were like half an inch off, you guys, and I made him take it down and move it because it would like
Oh,
bother
what
him.
about tell him about the pink color
Oh my
on the
god.
wall?
So, my first studio, when we were setting it up, if you guys know me, I'm very like, I like really clean aesthetics, very
Mhm.
black and white. I love just like black and white, maybe a pop of gold, pop of green. That was my theme from my first studio, my solo salon studio. So when I moved to the new studio, this is when Beauty Angels came into my life. And Beauty Angels Academy, their colors are gray and pink. Um, so I wanted to be on brand, and I wanted to tie in what I liked versus Beauty Angels as well. So I wanted to do like, and I made a Pinterest board and everything, and I saw this really cool picture that I was inspired by, and it had like a cool diagonal splash, like a diagonal shaped pink. If you guys have seen my studio or pictures, whatever you guys, there's a pink wall. I painted that pink wall 3 times because I couldn't get the pink right. The first pink, I walked into the studio, like, paint, it looks like different when it dries.
Yeah.
So I picked out this color. It looked nice and bright and vibrant. It looked like the Pinterest board, that I was putting together. And then I wanted to puke because it looked like Pepto-Bismol.
Pepto-Bismol. I remember you showing
I was so like pissed because
after all that work.
I painted this whole wall, and then I was like, oh crap. So I'm like, you know what? It's too dark. So I was so busy trying to put things together. I had to send my sister, who's another confidant, to Home Depot for me to pick out another pink. And I'm like messaging her my plan, my layout, like sending her swatches. So she picks out this pink, and she has a really good eye for design too. She's a hairstylist. I totally trust her taste. So I'm like, okay, you please help me out. Go get me another pink paint. She comes out. She comes back. I paint the wall, and it's too pink. It's too light. It's like cotton candy.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't, it's not enough. Like, it wasn't bold enough. It just looked lackluster.
Yeah.
So finally, I call in my brother for help, and I'm like, hey, I need your help. Like, and then he was like, Tan, you have this dark pink, you have this light pink, you have white. Let's start like mixing some pinks together, and let's paint a swatch on the wall. And why don't we let it dry for like a few hours, come back, and you can pick the one that you like. And I'm like, this is why you're my big brother.
That's so good.
This is why you're the brains of the operation most of the time. Like growing up, we were Pinky in the brain. Like he's the brain. And so I was like, genius. So we started mixing a couple different, ratios of the pink, and we finally got the perfect pink shade. And then we repainted it, and it turned out great, and I was so happy with it. And that's the pink that's there now. And then this is a different shade of pink, but I think I learned my lesson. So when I went with it, I did it on one shot.
It's a really good pink, Tanny.
This is a really good pink. I was very proud of myself. But and it's because anybody else might have been like, oh, whatever, like we already painted it, like let's leave it. I could not. It
No.
would have bothered me.
Go frickin' Bismol, man.
Oh my God. I was gonna puke every time I walked into my studio. I was like, that pink is just gonna slap me in the face every day. Like, holy crap.
And it's tough because the Beauty Angel pink is really soft.
It's really soft, but then like you don't want it to be too soft because you
No.
want it to make a statement. And I
And
want it
it's
to be
a contrast.
my statement wall, like contrast. Because my studio is white.
Mhm.
It's a very nice white, and I like it like that, but I don't want it to look clinical. I don't want it
Yeah.
to look like a medical procedure, medical clinic. So the pink is really inviting, and it's cozy, and I love it now. But it's funny that we went through that.
The wall.
the wall.
The wall story.
Did you
Oh,
have any like funny when you were starting out? And I know you went from you had a small studio and then you moved to this studio, right? Like did
yeah,
you
this is my third studio or my Bellevue location. I went through three different locations. And the last one, I had like a month notice to move. So, and it was really stressful. So, Ben and I found this random office that was marketed really poorly. And no, but I don't, it's downtown Bellevue. It's like right next to Hermes and Louis Vuitton and Prada. Like it's in the nicest block in like it's so bougie. And there was this crappy office that was like brown carpet and brown walls and one window. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And we got quotes from like there was concrete under the floor. I was like, oh, we'll hire a concrete guy to like scrape off the glue and polish it and everything. 6 grand. And then we got quotes to like do trim and paint and everything. I was like, okay, maybe we can do the paint ourselves and everything. So Ben and I watched YouTube videos, and Ben, bless his heart, because the things that I make that man do sometimes, he ripped up
I
the
can only
carpet.
imagine.
Yep.
And they're so
And usually
nice.
there's only a little bit of glue under the carpet. They poured buckets of glue under that carpet. So just to get 1 square inch to rip up took like a lot of force. And Ben ripped up the whole place. It took him a week. And he went through like scrapers and everything and pulled it. I have videos of him like just about to throw a hammer through the wall. He was so mad. And then we had to scrape up this thick thing of glue that was under the carpet, like on top of the concrete. And we ended up renting equipment from Home Depot by watching YouTube videos and using glue stripper and all that. And we polished it ourselves. And thank God it worked out, because I found out later we could have totally screwed up that concrete, but it looks so good. And everyone walks in, they're like, I love the concrete. I'm like, thanks.
Your floor looks so good. Nobody would have
Yeah.
even known that you
$30 an hour from Home Depot. You can rent a little concrete polisher, baby. Oh my gosh. And it just, and I am not I'm not creative with decorations. You know me. I am so square. I have all white walls and I have a couple plants and all white furniture, and it's just clean and white and so cold. Because I don't know what to do with color or fun. I'm like, I need somebody to help. Like going into the Scottsdale location, I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this? Like, I can't have another white, cold place in a hot desert.
Yeah.
So
You gotta go warmer.
I'm going to
Warmer.
be FaceTiming you a bunch.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're
Yeah.
gonna put some Pinterest boards together. That's my
Yep.
jam.
Oh, it's just funny though. And because it's expensive to update places. So it's nice to do it on a budget.
Oh yeah. And the thing was when I went from artist to trainer, it was like a whole different ball game because I was in a solo salon studio. It probably took me like 5 grand to set up with including like the rent and like everything, furniture and all that stuff. And now I'm moving to a space that was 10 times bigger, and I didn't have any students signed up. I just had to like that Field of Dreams. If you build it,
If you build it, they will come, baby.
yeah. That was kept playing in my head, like
Yeah.
build it. And my goal for myself was like I wanted to have 10 students per class.
Yeah.
So I set up my studio to fit 10, even though I had none. But this is me thinking, okay, if I just set everything up and get it all ready and the space is there and available, then like I'll find a way to get the students. And at the time, I was like, I didn't have the money. Like we didn't have the money. We had to buy all these kits and we had to do, invest
Beds.
the beds, the conference table. Like I wanted a marble top conference table, and like that was all great, in my mind. But then like a 12-foot conference table with a
Oof.
marble top, like who the hell is going to carry that for me upstairs? And it would have cost a fortune.
A fortune.
A fortune. So I found this place that did laminate tables, and then I bought this like marble vinyl wrap on Amazon. And I literally
I remember that.
Yes, I freaking wrapped that table myself. I gave myself blisters on all my fingers.
It's so perfect too.
But nobody can tell the difference, and everyone always compliments it. And I'm like, dude, that marble wrap cost me like $50. But they don't need to know that. But
it's more lightweight.
and it's lightweight and it's cleanable, and I can wipe it because like
You remember that one time though? It was more, we had that like packed course with like 14 students, and we had to wrap a new table to
Oh my
add to the
God.
table. Remember that?
My table wasn't big enough. So we had to go to IKEA to get another table to add onto the table. And then I couldn't add on a white table. So I had to get more wrap and wrap the table the night before the freaking class.
And it matched.
And it
That's
matched
what's so funny.
exactly. Like
Mhm.
it's just an extension to the table. And
That was a fun
nobody,
weekend.
nobody could tell the difference. But the things that you just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
You just
And
have to
make it look good in the process.
and make it look good
Make it
and
match.
hope for the best. I did the same thing for my second studio. I bought the table and I did the wrap again. But this time the wrap was different. It was like a different brand or something. And it was like a different color. Like it was the wrong one. And I had to I did one and it just looked off. I had to reorder it and I peeled it off and I redid it again.
Gosh dang it, Tanny. Oh man.
I can't.
The little things, the details.
The details.
It's all in the details.
The details. Oh
Mhm.
man. Like, gosh.
Man. Well, what a great first episode.
Oh, this has been amazing. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope that you guys and this is only like the tip of the iceberg, you guys.
Mhm.
There's so much more that we want to share with you. And you know what? Like maybe it's time to do our closing questions for this episode. I think we've had such a great time sharing stories with you guys. We have an amazing roster of guests
Yes.
that we're going to interview this season. And they're all entrepreneurs, but it's some beauty entrepreneurs, but some completely out, like beyond the scope of it. And I think it's important to listen to their stories too, because we all kind of share the same parallels of challenges.
Well, and you notice patterns.
And you notice patterns.
Yeah.
Like in entrepreneurs. And
it's very validating.
Yeah. We hope that it can provide inspiration for you. Because I know when I'm looking for inspiration, I'm going to be honest, I don't listen to PMU podcasts, and and I'm not looking at like brows all day long. Because if I look at one more brow at the end of the day, like I can't.
We're all there.
I love to go to museums. I love to listen to music. I love to follow all different types of artists, hairstylists, makeup artists, and I'm listening to poets, and I'm listening, and I listen to so many different podcasts that interview a plethora of different types of people.
Yeah.
And everyone has a different story, but like we said, they share a common ground in entrepreneurship.
And that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Blades of Glory, baby. No guts, no glory.
Well, and we should tell them how Blades of Glory started.
So Blades of Glory.
What is Blades of Glory?
What is Blades of Glory? Now people, why Blades of Glory? So one,
because this isn't new. This is not a new name.
It's not a new name. I love Will Ferrell. And I love that movie. And I love puns. I love playing with
We are
words,
so cheesy.
on words. I'm such a dork.
We even did a photo shoot, you guys, with Tanny and I acting like Will Ferrell and what's that other actor in Blades of Glory? The guy from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
And we did the pictures from Blades of Glory.
The only thing missing, we were seriously considering wearing the damn figure skating outfit.
We actually looked it up. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So yeah, that's our humor. Maybe one day we'll do it.
One day I think we might, because we're gonna carry the torch over here to our podcast. But
a certain amount of views, and we'll put
when
on
we
the ice.
Maybe when we hit a certain number of views, we're gonna have to do it. Or subscribers.
Uh-huh.
I think we've challenged ourselves.
Oh boy.
But Blades of Glory was actually my first playlist, and I've shared this a lot. I love music. My first playlist that I made for when I started as a microblading artist. Mm-hmm. And I put together some really feel good music, and you guys can follow it. I still have the playlist. It's on Spotify. You can follow me, Tanny.deep. I have a couple of really good ones I just made too. So I'll have to share that one with you later, Amanda. But Blades of Glory was my first microblading playlist because I'm a microblading artist, and then Blades of Glory. And
when I came and I saw you and I was like, dude, this is my jam. Like, these are all my songs. Like, who are you and how are you? And I literally played the Blades of Glory playlist from Spotify in my salon for like a year.
Oh my God. And Justin Xander Lux, he came to assist me, and he heard the playlist, and he signed up for Spotify and pays just so he can listen to this playlist without commercials.
I
Like,
love that.
it's a good playlist, you guys. I mean, I'm
It's
not gonna
good.
lie.
It's
It's a
really
good
good. We
playlist.
got
So,
good taste in music. So
oh yeah.
yeah.
So Blades of Glory was that where it started, but also the name, it also you dug a little bit deeper for us
Mhm.
because one, microblading, hence the blades. Blades is multiple because it's Amanda and myself, and we use this name to create our e-commerce store, the
Mhm.
official West Coast Beauty Angels store. So we're like, oh my God, it's perfect. We have to call it Blades of Glory.
And we joked about it at first, and then we kept coming back to it. We're like, wait, but it's actually really good.
And we loved it so much because it's perfect. You know, this is our moment of glory, honestly. Like, this career has changed my life in so many ways, and I feel like there's it's like nothing I can describe. It's indescribable. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, and like we talked about, glory means something different to everybody too.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like such a cool thing to come together, and each individual has their own glory through this industry or through
Mhm.
their impact or through, I don't, it's really special.
It's very
I know
special.
you and I share the same thoughts on all that. Like, and you and I have been so impacted by this industry that there's no better feeling than helping others like change their life.
Mhm.
And I think that's where you and I align really well is we love that feeling of being able to just help somebody with one more thing that's going to separate them in their career down the road. Like it's so cool. How
Like,
cool
I
is that?
I thought that, my heart was already bursting by helping people feel good about themselves and
Yeah.
building confidence, and then now we get to help other people do this for other people.
Yeah.
Like, and continue, and then helping, now we have trainers who we've
Yeah.
trained from students to now trainer, and now they're getting to do this, and it's just like tenfold, and it's just
It
growing like
doesn't
this
stop.
huge tree of love and blades and glory.
I'm like picturing this tree in my mind. I'm like
It's like growing roots and branches and like, and we
swords.
and of course we wanted to name our podcast this because we're bringing it to you, baby. We're giving it back.
Yeah.
So, wow, like, I'm excited. This is
Yeah. It's
amazing.
how cool that we finally did this.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud of us.
And I'm so proud that we re-recorded the first damn episode. Oh
Yeah,
man,
and
we
oh my,
did it.
so we were talking, and we wanted to share a lot of the struggle that entrepreneurs go through. Like, it's not
Mhm.
all peaches and cream. It's
The
not all
behind the
sunshine and
scenes.
rainbows. Behind the scenes, you guys, like, we know you guys. You're going through it. It's hard. And but if you're willing to make those struggles, I mean, if you're willing to go through the struggle and pick yourself back up every time you fail, and you keep going at it, like, you will succeed. You will
What's
succeed.
the worst thing that can happen if you keep going? You know, Y- like what's the worst thing that can happen if you're consistent? You work really hard.
Amazing things can happen.
It's really freaking cool. I'm so glad we didn't quit.
I know. I wanted
Whew.
to quit so many times. Like, say, so Amanda, like, what was your biggest blade? Like, what was your biggest challenge in, becoming an entrepreneur?
I entrepreneur, I've been wired since birth, but I've always wanted to be an
That's right.
entrepreneur. But I think my insecurity, I allowed the insecurity of not being a natural artist to really hold me back or get to me starting out. And I overcame it, but I think that that was a big struggle of mine.
Mm-hmm. I think my biggest blade would probably be, again, the overcoming the fear and, like, the discipline. Honestly, you guys, I wasn't sure if I had it in me to be my own boss, and I still struggle from day to day. Like, you would think that as productive as I am, I still, like, am lazy in some aspects. Like, certain things that
Same.
that I want to do, I don't end up doing, and I have this, again, that crazy voice in my head that talks me out of doing everything. Oh, you have to do, just sleep a little bit longer. Oh, you don't have to,
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's okay, you can do that later. Oh, you don't have to get back to that. Like, and it's still a huge struggle for me is managing myself,
Mhm.
and I have to be. I always tell myself, you have to be your best employee.
Yep.
Like, if I were to work for me, how would I expect me to act? And but at the end of the day, you also have to remember why you're doing this in the first place. So those days that I have that are really hard, or, like, that bring me to tears, or the struggle and the gut wrenching moments, I have to tell myself that, why, like, why do you want to quit? Like, why would you quit? Like, you
Yeah.
did this for a better life. for your family, and you did this for a better life for yourself and your mom and your dad and your baby, and you've come so far. So I think that again, it's still that's probably my biggest blade, is just trying to manage that on the day
Which
to
is
day.
so valid.
Hmm.
It's a lot. What about glories? What's our biggest glory? What's yours?
Oh man, like there's been a lot. There's been a lot of moments along the journey, but I recently had one. I want to say it was a huge one because um I've always wanted to be financially free. I used to live paycheck to paycheck. Like I and I'm a very determined type of person. So if I want to do something, like I'm not afraid to just like quit and start over. Like I've started my career over probably more than like twice, where I was at the top of my game and then decided I didn't want to do it anymore and I want to do something else. And then I started over and was a yuppie intern, and you know like went from making $25-$30 an hour to making like nothing, or like $10 an hour. I've done that before when I switched to from working for a corporate AT&T to becoming a fashion designer. So I struggled. I worked 3 jobs to make ends meet, and I was living on my friend's couch, and like really, really humble beginnings, you guys. Like when I moved from San Diego to LA, where I was originally from, and this is also when I met my husband, and he was broke and we were both broke. And so we have a lot of funny moments that we think back on, because it was, yeah, we didn't have anything. And there were times where I remember like not being able to afford enough gas, you know like not filling your tank all the way to full, like little things like that,
Absolutely.
or like I had to sell my old clothes, like to just have money to like spend for the week. So from that moment to recently, I want to say I'm financially free now, where I don't stress about like decisions that I can make. We recently became homeowners in the last year. We bought our house that we've been living in. We've been renting it for the past 10 years. And then the owner decided to move out of state. So he wanted to sell the house. But of course, he gave us first dibs on it. So my brother and sister and I, we pitched in and we bought the house that we lived in. And that was a great feeling. But then the house is super old. So we weren't sure if we were gonna stay in the house, or if because at the time when they decided to sell the house, it was like it happened so fast, and we're like, we don't have time to like, we didn't want to rent another house and like move and spend all the moving costs to like pay someone else's mortgage again. So we're like, you know what, let's just buy the house, and we'll decide what we're gonna do with it. I knew the baby was coming, and I was pregnant at the time, and we're like, maybe we'll live here for a few years and then we'll move to a bigger house, and that was our goal. And then this past holiday, we lost my father. And, we had so many different plans when he was still around. But now that he's gone, and, Houston and I were also going to get our own place. But now my mom's there. We don't want to leave her. She's been so great, like a godsend, helping us with London and everything. And so we decided, you know what, guys, we're going to stay in this house. And then we're just going to reorganize everything, without dad here. But we have to remodel everything because it's so old. So we're literally like doing every single part of the house, the outside, the landscaping, the inside, the bathrooms, the kitchen, the floors. Like we're flipping it completely. And I'm sitting there with our contractor and like writing checks after check after check after check for like demolition. And okay, we finished this stage of this, we're doing this, we finished the outside of the house already, we did a new roof, we did solar. I'm telling you guys, we
More.
probably,
Yeah.
between the three, we're probably going to put like $200,000 into this project.
Yeah.
But I was able to write these checks without sweating.
Isn't that crazy?
And I had a moment, and I looked at my brother and I just said like, thank you God, like that we can do this.
Yeah.
Like I never thought in a million years that we'd be able to do this and not break a sweat and not worry, and be able to take care of my mom and take care of my family in this way. That would probably be like my my biggest moment of glory, is being able to provide and do that.
And
So
how exciting your mom gets a new
my
house.
mom gets a new house. We're gonna get all new furniture. We're gonna do everything, and like all the hard work, all the blood, sweat, and tears, and everything that we put into this for the last 3 years. Like this moment, I was just like, oh my God, thank you. universe, like, thank you.
Well,
I
you
feel
you earned that. You earned those too.
it,
Like you worked so hard.
I worked so hard,
So hard.
and it's and now I know, like, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
It's all worth it. And I can only see, like, we're not stopping here.
That's the tip of the iceberg.
It's the tip of the iceberg. Like, the foundation is set, and, like, I want London to grow up and have a wonderful life, and
Yeah.
we want to continue growing our family, and I just and to know that, and the thing is, I'm not working harder than I was before.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not overextending myself. I don't feel burnt out. I segment my day so that I get enough family time and I get enough work time, and everyone gets 100% of me, and I'm here. What about you?
I d- I don't even know. I'm like emotional because I know I've been through this with you. It's literally it's tough because you work so hard and you just really want to hit certain goals in your life. You want this and that and that. And I think that as you continue to grow your business and yourself, you start to realize what's really important to you. And you start like that's why Ben and I moved to Phoenix this year. I've lived in Seattle almost 30 years. That it's home. But I have a nerve disease that is I have a very extreme chronic pain condition that's not curable. And the only thing that helps with my pain is heat, dry heat. And so we decided to move to the desert to help get my heat down so we can have kids because I don't want to be a really bad hurting mom. And
Mm.
so my dream was always to do that, but how the heck would we move to Phoenix, Like how
Right.
would that work out? And thankfully, I have worked so hard the last few years to scale to a point where I can live apart from one of my locations, my flagship location here in Bellevue. I scaled online in my business and on social media and as a brand. And I think the cool thing is now I earned myself and I built myself the ability to where we can be really happy and my pain levels can go down. And if, like, for those of you that have chronic pain or you have loved ones that have chronic pain, it is so hard.
Mm.
It's really, really hard. And it really impacts your quality of life. And it affected um, my thoughts that if I would be able to or want to have kids, because I want kids really bad, but the pain just kept getting in the way.
Mhm.
And just knowing, like we moved down to Phoenix and I got a cheap 70s house it was half the price of our house here in Seattle. We cut our bills in half and we've been remodeling it ourselves. And I'm just like, we're so happy.
Yeah.
Like every day we go out to the pool and we make our dogs swim in the pool and they hate it and we just laugh. And like Ben and I just laugh. And there's so much freedom knowing that things are good and scaled enough where we can have those moments and be in the heat and I can feel better and I can set my schedule. I can work harder or less. And I think and that's just recent. Like we moved a month ago, this is all very recent.
Right. And you're
But
still, so are you going back and forth every week?
so I'm back in Seattle 1 to 2 times a month. So, and then I'm going to start opening up distance courses again soon, hopefully, as things reopen and everything. But I do classes in Bellevue and then I do clients in Bellevue. So sometimes I'll make it in one
Wow.
trip, sometimes two a month, but
Okay.
it's only a 2.5 hour flight. So it's like pretty easy.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when I leave Arizona, I cry because I'm so happy there.
Oh.
Like it's our happy life. And we have a little pool in our 70s house. And it's just like it has a little waterfall. And we just hang out there and we
So
just have
cute.
so much fun. And I just think that being able to work hard so you can design your life how you want it um, is so cool because I think that Ben and I, we got married really young and we've just worked really extremely hard. Like we're celebrating our 9-year wedding anniversary this weekend. And it's like we worked so hard because we wanted the life that we wanted. And now we're finally like enjoying things. So
Wow.
yeah,
Congratulations on everything, on
that's our glory.
your marriage, and the
Yeah,
businesses.
any of you that know Ben, I talk about he's my best friend in the world. The number one thing I'm the most proud of is my marriage. Like he is my best freaking friend in the world. Like I FaceTime him 50 times a day. We
Aw.
baby talk and it'll make you throw up. Like I love him so much and like to have a husband that is there with you through being a crazy entrepreneur that wants to do a million things and having chronic pain that is really bad. Like that takes a really special man, and that's the one thing that I'm grateful for every second of the day.
I love Ben so much. He's so
He's
awesome. We do
amazing.
really have the best husbands. Our husbands are like the nicest people in the world. So supportive. And Houston is definitely like, same to me.
He's
And
so awesome.
they're awesome. They're amazing. If you guys are watching this, we love you. You haven't already figured that out by now. But you know what? That brings us to the end of our first episode. And we really hope that this provided a lot of value, insight, inspiration for you in any way. And we have a whole new season ahead of us. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like, subscribe, follow us. You can find me on Instagram, Sway Brows. We're also going to make a new Instagram for our Blades of Glory podcast. Our website, swaybrows.com. As you guys know, we do microblading PMU services for brows. We also train in microblading, powder removal, also advanced training. And then Amanda, you can tell them where to find you.
I'm on Instagram. It's Amanda Brewer Official, and the academy is Eastside Microblading. And if you enjoyed the episode, it would mean so much to us if you could post this on your story or get the word out,
Yeah.
and maybe share something you got from it. Like what nugget did you get out of this mastermind today that added value to your day?
Totally. And if there's more topics that you guys want us to talk about, drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
So if, show us some love, or send us some new things that you want to learn about, or if you're curious about, we're here for you. All right. Thank you guys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.